Let's talk about the most important interventions, and this is, please just speak honestly. From my perspective, just in terms of mental performance, and we will get to mental health, and maybe they correlated here, is that sleep has been compromised, and I think we're getting far less
Hmm.
sleep than we used to, quality sleep and quantity
Yeah.
compared to before Edison, founded and invented the light bulb, and even Nicholas Tesla. I think those are two big turning points there. How
Yep.
important, like someone's listening now, and this is our biggest area when we work with our corporates, and that's why we use wearable technology. Although the accuracy is not there, I think the precision's not there, and maybe as an engineer, you can expand on that. But how important is quality and quantity sleep for brain health and mental performance?
And this is an area I think we've learned a lot in just the last even 10 years and in learning more, but it's critical. In fact, it's hard to overstate its importance to the point where anyone that comes to me, I mean, it's sort of like I have, I say this, a much more tongue in cheek on the show than I do with, of course, with patients. But in general, when we know people come and see me, there's sort of these like ground rules. One of them is sleep. It's non-negotiable. They have to start following some procedures and improve their sleep because just about everyone can improve their sleep,
Yeah.
at least to some degree. But now that what we've learned about the lymphatic system, when we've watched what Alzheimer's, and pick a dementia, it doesn't have to be Alzheimer's, but any of those proteins, the way they get cleared out and your brain kind of cleans itself during sleep is absolutely critical. And very linked to our first topic we were talking about of attention span and
Mm.
screens, those are driving less sleep. So it's kind of becomes a chain reaction, right? It's all connected. But now people routinely are telling me they're sleeping 4 to 6 hours a night. I mean, that is terrifying. I was one of those. I mean, we've all gone through that. I've definitely spent years, unfortunately, with medical training, and everything. I mean, I've taken a toll on my sleep. But for this last phase of my life, I've become quite strict. And it's things like when it's having a wind down time, having a very dark environment. You can wear a sleep mask. You don't have to, or you can use blackout curtains. But there's ways to do things that are cost effective, right? Earplugs or white noise. I have to sometimes work hard to make sure the environment is nice and cold,
Mm.
especially for me. I sleep much better when it's cold. All of these things, just optimizing that if I put that EEG on your brain while you slept, I want to see as much time in that deep delta wave sleep as possible. I want to see some healthy REM cycles. But as we get older, we know that gets harder. So you have to work harder to do it. But what we often find is not only are people sleeping 4 or 5 hours, they're spending a lot of time in very lightweight, it's light phase sleep,
Mm.
which you're not going to get that cleaning effect.
Yeah.
So it's incredibly important. I spend a lot of time with
Yeah.
patients on this topic.
Your view on wearables, I've found that they've been very beneficial, especially working with corporates and business owners. They want a goal,
Yeah.
we're teleological beings, and being able to aim, although the accuracy might not be there. I've found it's been very, very, very beneficial. Even when you eat, people realize, or when you
Yeah.
have alcohol, drinking early in the day or eating early in the day. What's your view, and what do you prefer with regards to wearable technology?
I'm a fan. I've tried a number of them. Whether it's temporary or permanent, I think depends on the person, what's helpful. For me, for example, not that long ago, I wore continuous glucose monitor for a couple weeks. I had previously done all kinds of, calorie tracking apps and
Mm.
even finger sticks, which
Mm.
is obviously not fun. But man, this CGM really opened my eyes. I noticed I made several very like clear changes in the way I, put food, nourishment in my body because the order made a much bigger difference than I thought. For example, if I'm doing intermittent fasting, when I first break my fast, what a difference it was if I start with a carb versus end with a carb, for example. So I would say wearables, huge fan. I've done research, actually quite a bit of research with wearable technology with phones, using your phone to sense gait monitoring, voice monitoring. How can you detect symptom changes? Even like detecting if you have the flu with your microphone. And obviously there's sleep monitors now. There's like the rings and the wristbands. I'm a fan. I think anything that helps people like wake up and see, oh, I'm doing this thing and I could do
Mm.
this thing differently, I think is very positive. And
Mm.
I think for the most part, though, they do offer that. Because,
Mm.
it's funny, these wearables, I think, come back to that topic of our attention. We have more limited attention. So the wearable helps you bring your attention to the behavior in that moment, which is so hard in today's age. And that's just the way it is. I mean, I certainly, for example, if someone comes in and tells me, "Did you know you've just been slouching like this all day?" I'm not even aware,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
Awareness
in the
is,
old days, if I'm not looking at computer, I can kind of pay attention. But
yeah.
these things are making it harder.